Okay, so now we are finished with our register and broadcast node endpoint. And I just want to mention that I believe this endpoint is the most complicated part of this course. So now that's behind us, and we can move on to some things that are a little bit less complex. Okay, cool. So in this video, we are going to build out the register node endpoint. And it's going to be very simple and very straightforward, especially compared to the endpoint that we just built out. So this register node endpoint is where every node in the network is going to receive the broadcast that is sent out by our register and broadcast node endpoint. And the only thing that this register node endpoint has to do is register the new node with the node that receives this request. So let's build that out now. The first thing that we're going to do is define the new node URL. So we're going to say const new node URL equals rec.body.new node URL. And this is simply saying that take the new node URL that is sent in on the rec body. This is the data that we send to this endpoint. And we're just going to save that new node URL as the variable new node URL. Next, we want to register this new node URL with the node that received this request. So to do that, we will say bitcoin.networknodes.push the new node URL. Cool. So now this is what registers our new node with the node that we are currently on. All we do is we simply push the new node URL into this node's network nodes array. Cool. And the final thing that we have to do is send back a response. So we will say res.json and we will send a note back that says new node registered successfully with node. Cool. And that's just about it. Now, we want to do a little bit of error handling inside of this endpoint. One thing that we want to do is we only want to add this new node URL to our network nodes array if it doesn't already exist in that array. So to control for this, we are going to put an if statement right here. And basically what we're going to say is, if the new node URL is not present in our network nodes array, then we'll run this line. So let's do that now. We're going to make a variable by saying const node not already present equals bitcoin.networknodes.index of the new node URL equals -1. So basically what this line is saying here is saying that if the index of the new node URL is -1, or in other words, if the new node URL does not exist in our network nodes, then this variable will be true. And if the new node URL already does exist in our network nodes array, then this variable will be false. So we just want to take this variable and say, if this node is not already present, then add it to our network nodes array. Simple as that. And there's one other case that we want to handle for. We do not want to push this new node URL into our network nodes array if the new node URL is actually the URL of the current node that we're on. We don't want that. So we're going to say const not current node equals bitcoin.current node URL does not equal the new node URL. So basically what this line is doing is we're simply evaluating this expression. We're asking if the current node URL equals the new node URL. If they do not equal each other, then this variable will be true. If they do equal each other, then this variable will be false. So now we just want to add this variable to our if statement. So we will say and not current node. So really all that's happening in this if statement is we're saying if this new node is not already present in our network nodes array, and if the new node is not the same URL as the current node that we're on, then we just want to add the new node to our network nodes array. Easy as that. So this is simply just a little bit of error handling inside of this endpoint. And then finally, at the end of our endpoint, after our node has been registered, we send back the message, new node registered successfully with node, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So let's just say new node registered successfully. Cool. And believe it or not, that's it for this endpoint. In the next video, we will be testing this endpoint to make sure that it works properly and to get a better understanding of how exactly it is working. I'll see you in the next video.